What's up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody?
How was your day?
How was your week?
How was your life?
Going. We did that backwards.
Again, for the second time. This is the second time we did the intro because we messed it up the first time too.
Miguel did.
And somehow it came out messed up again.
No, it didn't.
But it's fine.
Fine.
Look, before we get started, I just wanted to mention something. On the end of the last episode, I might have been talking a little crazy. You know? No, I'm just kidding. It is what it is. You know, that's the world we live in. So that's just how it goes down.
Baby,
but
you were just expressing your feelings.
I think a lot of people are feeling like that today. You know, so and you know, it's not that I think, I know there's a lot of people feeling like that.
Yes.
So I'm not the only one. And
and
if you're feeling that way, you're not alone, and we'll figure it out. Yep. I mean, we always do. That's one thing that as humans we do.
There's a lot of uncertainty that's being felt.
But if anything, this should open your eyes. And if you don't like what's happening, you either have to shut up and roll with it or do something about it. But sitting around and complaining doesn't do anything.
Or being disrespectful, I feel, because everybody...
Yeah, that too.
It is what it is. Like, you and I have been married for 13 years. I love me some God, and God loves me, and God loves you too.
Thanks, babe. He'd be around.
And you know God loves you.
He'd be around.
But what we believe is just totally different.
It is.
And somehow we have come together and made a peaceful home, peaceful, loving, caring, understanding, respectful home.
Yeah.
And if people were to move about this world just being kind and being loving and accepting each other for our differences, then we would live in such a better world today. But someone always has to be right, and no one wants to apologize. And even when you're in the wrong, you will still fight for what you feel is right, even knowing that you were wrong.
Yeah, it's that stubbornness. Like, you're going to stick to it no matter what. I'm already too far down this fucking path.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
But you're right. And that is kind of like I said last week. And I know a lot of people feel the same way. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, however you feel about it, that's great. Mm-hmm. And if you want to do it, go for it.
Right.
I have no issues with that. But just don't force everybody else to.
Right.
You know, that's it. But that's another... we were talking about, what was it? Just, I don't know, how people, when you talk to each other, it's like you can't even, I don't even care to listen to a lot of people love hearing other people's opinions about stuff. You know, like somebody had sent me something, like, here's some news that came out. And when I start watching it, it's like and you can tell what type of media you're watching, because right off the bat, the first words out of this dude's mouth was something disrespectful towards Biden.
Right.
Now, obviously, if you listen to the last episode, there's some things that he's doing that I do not agree with 100%.
Right.
But when I'm listening to something to get information from you, and the first thing out of your mouth is something disrespectful, I can't listen.
Right.
I can't. And you know what? At that point, I don't care, and I don't want to listen.
Right. See, and that's great. And that's the thing, though, when other people feel that they have to enforce their beliefs on other people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's why
And it causes division, and it causes hate, and it causes disrespect. And that's when you get what we're going through today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we weren't made to all think the same. We weren't made to all look the same.
Yeah.
We're different.
Things are changing too. People are becoming different little by little. You know, when people are starting to realize things and figure things out.
You know what it is?
What's that?
Motherfucker, you're getting old.
What's that?
You're living through some decades, man. No.
We old.
Are you old?
We old. That's us.
Because you start to look back and you start to see the change.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to roll with the punches, and sometimes, you just got to know who you are and where you stand.
It's funny. It's funny just thinking about going through these different stages of life. Because I remember being the freaking youngest dude at work, the least experienced, like the guy that just got there. Mm-hmm. And then little by little you get old, and it's all the shit that you saw, growing up. And all the old shit is now, or all the stuff that was cool and new to you is now old and crusty.
What?
I'm talking like the music. That shit sounds.
It gets recycled. Hold up.
But what's awesome is the music. Somehow, you know what? I wonder if, I'm guessing parents, like our parents back in the day, probably felt the same way about our music.
Ooh, yeah.
Like they were like, this is horse shit. My music and the oldie station is going to be around forever, right?
Yes.
And now our shit is the new throwback station or whatever the fuck it is,
I remember you came home one time and you were talking about, you and Audrey went somewhere and you guys were talking about the station.
You're like, we found the best station.
What the hell, throwback? This is my music.
I was offended.
Throwback oldies? This isn't oldies.
Who you calling old?
We old. I know. And Audrey, and that's how she refers to it.
Oh my God.
She's like, I like your guys' music the best.
Yeah, that's funny.
The throwbacks. But it's just,
but
it is what it
is.
is. Life changes, people change, and you just got to figure out where you stand and where your priorities are. And even if your beliefs are different, you just accept and love those and move on.
Yeah. Bottom line, if it's not hurting you or your family or people that you love, and you can disagree with people. It's okay.
Right.
It's not going to destroy us. It's not like we can't be friends because we don't agree on every single thing.
Yep. You have to learn to agree to disagree.
Yep.
Right? Yep. And that's what has kept us married for 13 years.
Yeah. We have figured
marriage tip.
Agreed. Sometimes
some things I just said,
shit, man.
One time, that's 2 times. I listened to the last podcast and here I'm going off, and I was sick to my stomach.
There was something that happened maybe a couple months ago. Actually, it might have been our most recent little thing that we had. I don't know what it was, but it was something that we disagreed on and we never agreed on it. And I don't remember exactly what it was.
My spirituality?
I don't know.
Because I know that was a big.
No. This was like a couple. We haven't had any issues with that or talked about that in a while. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm talking about, it was here recently. It was something that happened. I can't remember. But you were like, no, this. And I'm like, no, this. And you're like, no, this is how it is. And I'm like, no, it's this way. And in the end, you didn't fucking budge.
Was it when we were listening to Oprah? Oprah?
What,
Winfrey
like in the car?
And
yes. No.
Oh,
This was like maybe a couple months ago.
Okay.
But
either way.
But what I'm saying is that the whole thing ended with both of us not agreeing. And then it was something that we revisited a couple times. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just once, it was maybe 2 or 3 times. And every time it went the same way. And then at the end, I was just kind of thinking about it. I was like, I guess we just fucking disagree.
Well, what's important?
No, and that was it. I was just like, I guess we just disagree.
Right. What's important?
Whatever.
Is it most important to be right? Or is it most important to keep that friendship? And I guess it all depends on what the subject is.
Exactly. And that's what it was. Whatever it was, obviously wasn't that important.
Right.
So I was just like, whatever. If it comes up again, we'll deal with it. But until then, who gives a fuck?
Right.
We'll figure it, business as usual.
Yep.
Like, why let it bother us?
Yes.
Then it's over.
Yes. So the other day.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
We were having dinner.
We were. And you stepped away for a second.
I stepped away for a moment. Actually, I went to the bathroom, was washing my hands, and I can hear something was happening on the kitchen table.
Yeah.
And Joey had his best friend over. Great kid. Great
we
personality.
Talk about him all the time, yeah.
Will have you rolling out of your seat from laughter.
Yeah. He'll say some unexpected things.
And so what exactly did I miss?
So what happened was what you were hearing was Joey's best friend. We were eating pizza. So it's Friday night. The kids had a sleepover, so I got a few pizzas, threw the pizzas in the oven, and I serve it up. And you were in the bathroom, and we're all sitting there at the table, and the kids were all talking back and forth. And all of a sudden, Evan scoops up his pizza in his hand, like in the palm of his hand, and picks it up and slaps Joey square in the face with the piece of pizza.
Okay, and that's what I thought occurred. I thought the boys were just rough playing somehow.
Well,
playing.
It was getting a little rough after that.
But I didn't know why Evan slapped Joey in the face with a pizza.
So what happened was these kids, they were sitting there. We're all at the table. We're all talking or whatever. But the kids being kids, they're all kind of picking at each other and making fun and this and that. And I can't remember everything that was being said or whatever. But Joey said something kind of like a dig at his friend. And I don't know if Joey caught it, but I did. Mm-hmm. And I was like, ooh, that wasn't very nice. And then they started getting into something else. And it was about the cat was around. And they were like, well, who do you love more? Your cat or your best friend?
So Evan is asking Joey this
Or it was kind of
question.
like a thing like that. And he was like, I love the cat more. He's like, what? You're going to love your cat more than your best friend?
Brainless. He called him a brain.
Or yeah, your brainless, whatever, pea brain.
Yeah.
And they're joking around. But then Joey said, he's like, yeah, he's like, the cat's part of my family, not like you or something. But it wasn't exactly that. I'm missing some things, but it was a buildup of insults, like a little dig.
Okay.
It was one before, and then it was like two or three combined, one after another. Until finally, it's kind of like, yeah, you're not one of us, and nobody wants to freaking feel that way. And he freaking palmed that pizza and smashed him right in the face with it.
Really?
Yeah.
So what you guys have to understand, okay, is that they have been friends for quite some time.
Yeah.
They joke around all the time. We'll be upstairs. Miguel and I will come down, and these two boys will have each other
in headlocks. They grab them by the hair.
Yes,
they're dragging each other to the floor.
They're being boys, and they're
the way boys should be.
I mean, wholeheartedly laughing. And when you're around these two, you can feel the love that they have for each other and the support. Like they're just. Yeah. It's amazing. It is. It's amazing to see these two and the bond that they have. So when I walk in and I see Joey full of pizza sauce, like all over his face, and I look at Evan and half of Evan's head has
pizza
sauce. And Audrey, I asked Audrey, I'm like, hey, what's happened? She's like, you missed it. Evan just slapped Joey in the face with a piece of pizza. And I looked at her, and I started laughing.
Oh, we were all laughing.
Hard.
Dude, so at first, Evan hit him in the face with the pizza. And Joey, I mean, he was just like in shock. He couldn't believe that and I told you when I was describing it to you, it was like in a freaking circus, like when a clown gets hit in the face with a cream pie. Like it was about as perfect as you could hit somebody in the face with pizza. Like when Jim Carrey put the mask on, like the fucking sauce wrapped around his face. He had sauce on the sides of his head.
Yeah.
And when we went upstairs, because the thing
I thought that they were joking. I thought they were playing.
So
I didn't know why he hit Joey in the face with the pizza.
After he hit Joey in the face with the pizza, I think he's like, you said some mean things. Mm-hmm. Or he told him something like that. And then Joey was kind of like in shock. And then he picked up his pizza to hit him. And then I was like, hey. And I think he kind of swung it and got some stuff on him. And that's what you saw. But then I kind of broke it up. And I could see, I mean, he fucking cracked him. But he cracked him with the pizza. So I could see after everything calmed down for a second, I could see in Joey's face, like, he might have wanted to cry. You know, like he was feeling upset.
Yes.
So I told him, I was like, hey, come here and like real quick, go wash your face. So he starts washing your face.
So you can get him out.
I want to get him away from everybody else. And I'm like, let's go upstairs. Let's go get your friend the shirt because he needs a shirt. You need a shirt. Let's go. So we go upstairs and we're in the bathroom upstairs. And right when it happened, I think Evan said, you said some hurtful things. And then Joey looked at me. And I looked at Joe and I'm like, you had it coming. I was like, you did say some mean things to your friend. And then that's when he tried to hit him. And then that whole thing happened. So then we went upstairs. And when we get upstairs, we're talking. And I told him, I was like, hey, man, I was like, some of those things that you said to Evan, I was like, it's okay to joke around with your friends. I was like, but there's some things that you said that were actually kind of mean. You know?
What did he say? Did you ask him questions?
And he was like, I know. He's like, I know. And I was like, you don't want to be hurting your friend's feelings. I was like, that's your best buddy. I was like, you guys are supposed to get each other's back and be there for each other. You don't want to, that's the last person you want to hurt his feelings. And he was still kind of, like he still had some feelings because he got hit in the face with a pizza.
No, this is a coaching experience.
But then right after, I was like, dude, how funny is it that your friend smashed you in the face with a piece of pizza? And right then his face he just couldn't hold it. He started laughing. And he was like, that was pretty funny. And I was like, dude, that was really funny. And he started laughing. We cleaned them up and we went and got t-shirts for the kids.
But did he understand at that moment when you were having that conversation with him, did he understand what he did and the consequence?
Yeah, he understood that he went too far.
Okay.
Like he pushed the boundaries too far.
Because Joey is a jokester and there's a line
you
can cross.
And you know what? Some people don't know that fucking line.
Yes, exactly. And Joey,
I'm talking about adults.
Yeah, well,
I'm talking about adults.
Yes, but that's why it's so good that he's learning this now because Joey has that personality.
Here's a good example. We all have friends, right? And I have friends of mine that they know that if they came to me and they made a certain kind of joke, that I'm going to be fine. Like if they make, whatever joke or something that hurts people's feel, like maybe like a guy that's getting older or whatever. Hey, old man, or are you senile or whatever, Some people you can joke and because you have that relationship with them. But then you also have to have, I don't know, the awareness that there's some people you don't joke with like that. And then that there's some things that are not okay to say.
Right.
So that's what I think that's kind of what Joey learned last night.
Well, what I learned last night about our kids, and I'm very surprised about this because when Joey came down, you had a conversation about apologizing, I believe, but you didn't mention that.
Yeah, this was after we came back down.
Oh, I thought you had that in private, that conversation.
No, this
with
was
him.
No, we need to still have this conversation with the kids.
No.
This is something
you didn't tell him he needed to apologize to Evan?
No, I did. But right then is when we saw that there was an issue.
So with that, did you ask him questions?
Let's explain what's happening because we have people listening. So when I came back down from cleaning Joey up upstairs and we came back down to the dinner table, Joey's sitting right next to me and his friend is sitting next to him. And I kind of lean over to Joey and I tell him, hey, have you apologized? Like, I kind of want to say it quietly because I don't want his friend hearing that I'm telling Joey, like, hey, you should probably apologize to your friend for being a jerk, And when I said that, and his friend also doesn't bullshit.
No, that's what I love about him. Because he's very forward.
Joey kind of like said something, playing it off, and I'm sorry. like some bullshit, this and that. I'm sorry. And he's like, don't say it if you don't mean it, or something like that. He said pretty much straight out.
Yes.
And we look at Joe, we're like, he's right, you know? So if you're going to apologize, and he still kind of bullshitted and half apologized.
Right.
And he called him out again. And that was kind of weird to see.
Right. Because you and I apologize to each other. We apologize to the kids. And I think it's just helping them to become aware.
Maybe that's just something that you have to learn, that it's okay, that it's not a bad thing. You make a mistake, you apologize. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yes. And the thing of it is that when you had that conversation with Joey, it's not telling Joey he needs to apologize. It's asking him questions so that he can come to the conclusion, like he himself can make the decision, I need to apologize, versus you telling him to apologize.
So
because
maybe
when him and Audrey are fighting, I learned this from one of our parenting books that I was listening to, that for me to tell Joey, you need to tell your sister sorry. And when he tells her sorry, it's meaningless. He doesn't understand it. It's making the kids think, making them understand, and asking them questions in a way to where they say, you know what, I think I need to apologize.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, what happened? And then he's like, well, I said this and then that happened.
What could you have
I was
said?
like, so what do you think about what you said or whatever?
Yes.
That was kind of mean. And how did Evan feel? I hurt his feelings.
Yes.
And what do you do? What are you supposed to do if you hurt somebody's feelings or when we hurt somebody else?
What do you think the right thing to do?
What would the right thing
now?
to do be? Then maybe.
Yes. It's getting them to connect the dots, and that's how they learn. And that's how I'm learning how to work with the kids, you know, just through the audiobooks that we're listening to. It's like, you don't tell them what they need to do. You help them to understand what they should have done different, or what they feel that they should do in order to help the situation.
Yeah. That's good, babe.
You know?
Good job. Good job. Heck yeah.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
And I'm listening
We're learning.
And I was listening to Untangled today, and they were giving tons of examples on how to use these same concepts for a teenage girl that's going through a hard situation with her tribe, which are her friends. Like if there's someone in the tribe who is doing things that are not safe or doing things that she should not be doing, and helping your daughter when she comes to you to recognize them, to ask her questions. What do you feel that they should do? How do you feel that you should react to what they're asking you to do if you know it's not the right thing? It's getting them to say it, getting them to recognize their actions or lack of actions, and what do you feel you should do in order to make this right? You know, it's not saying, hey, you know what, your friend's a little brat, or your friend is not doing things right. It's getting them to recognize it and getting them to make the right decision regarding what is being asked of them or what's happening in the situation.
Yeah. That's good, baby. Yeah, I got to keep listening to that book too, because
it's so good.
Yeah. And like I mentioned before, that's the one that we're kind of ahead of the curve still. And
right. Yes. But I thought that it was such a great learning experience for all of us at that table yesterday, because you and I did learn that both of our kids have a problem with saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, the other situation was we were kind of just messing around, you know, and one thing that's been really cool lately is that Audrey's been like really playful. And we've been playing around, like me and her, where like I love it. Any of you that have listened to the podcast for any length of time know that there was a stretch there. And that's kind of cool to kind of be able to go back and listen, you know, because there was a stretch there maybe about a year ago on the podcast. If you look up the titles of the clips and the episodes, there was times when I was being pushed away. And now she's kind of bringing me back in, and like we're wrestling and
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 just
we're
so
playing. And
you
it's
all
fun.
know it. I mean, she was only pushing you away because she was very confused with why
her body was changing.
Yeah, her body was developing. It was nothing against you personally. It was just her.
Yeah.
And then once she started to learn, we started to talk to her, and guide her through that. She ended up coming right back around. And I noticed this just happened, a week or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Like she was going after you.
This was earlier in the week. This was earlier in the week. She was going after me.
I love it.
It was Wednesday. It was Wednesday. Yep.
Yes. And I'm sitting back because normally like she's that way with me.
Well, it was like jujitsu. Like she was jumping on me, taking my back. And then I was like, I'm going to get out of this and I'm going to get on top. And I was like, I'm just going to let her do her thing. And then she started choking me and this and that. It was fun. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. But so yesterday.
How did that make you feel?
I felt awesome. It was so great.
Did you recognize it?
Yeah, of course.
Or were you like, what are you trying to, what?
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm going to show you. How do you get out of this? And then I tried to show her something and she kicked me to the curb.
Because
that's okay. Yep. Whatever.
And in the book, Untangled today, they were talking about that.
But that's the thing is that I'm going to take that opportunity to try. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Right? And sometimes it's
the next, because I was like, hey, come here. Next time you take somebody's back, like I'm trying to teach her something. But she wasn't hearing it right then. Nope. But next time maybe she'll sit there for a couple seconds and listen.
Yes.
So
she wanted to play with you. And I think
and that's fine.
Yes. And with you though, a lot of times you're in training mode. Like you are. You're in training mode.
If somebody starts putting arms around my throat, like my hands go up and like protect your neck.
But and that's something that it's taking time for you to become more aware. That's all it is. Hold up. It's like when you have a moment where the kids are playing with you, whether they're joking with you or they're wrestling with you, and they do something incorrectly. I know you want to fix it because of the person that you are. And it's great. I was there. I witnessed it. You went into training mode and you recognize that she was not there. That's not what she wanted to do. And you just...
Well, let's play then.
Yes. And that was great. That was part of you waking up.
Yeah.
Becoming aware,
Thank you.
son.
Yay for me this time.
That's good job.
But so the issue that we had yesterday, though, was that she was playing like she does, you know, and we were in the kitchen messing around and she went to go jump on my back. And when she reached around my head, she like cracked me in the chin with like a hook.
The jaw?
In the jaw. Like square in the jaw with a solid. She
was trying to get you
like around my throat. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and we play around like that. So she went to reach around and I'm talking about, it was about as solid as you can get from a freaking 12-year-old. And if they put something behind it, and square right on the chin. Yep. Yep. You'll feel it. I mean, it's not like it's going to knock me out or anything, but I was like, what the like that hurt.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, she went off and just did her thing like nothing ever happened. But it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm hurt. But I'm just like, why didn't you apologize? Like that's what I'm thinking in my head. So after a second, like she went off and then I called her over and I was like, hey. I was like, you hit me in the jaw, right? And she was like, oh, I did? And I was like, no. You did. Mm-hmm. Like, you did. You didn't hit me soft. You hit me pretty hard, right in the jaw. Mm-hmm. I'm like, why didn't you apologize? She said, I'm sorry.
I didn't know. I heard
I didn't know. And I'm like, no, you knew. And even when it came to apologize, it was like, oh, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? I don't that's something, you know what, for you guys and for us, and you guys will benefit from it too. Well, I mean, we got to figure this out. Well, I don't know because I was thinking about it and I wrote it down in my notes. Like, do we have problems apologizing? And I don't think we do. I mean, there's times when I'm listening.
I apologize today.
We apologize on this podcast to each other. Yes. So like it's not, I don't think it's like a lack of example.
No, I don't think it's a lack of example. It might be a little bit of pride or a little bit
maybe that's what it is.
Just, yeah. And I think that's something that we need to talk to them more about. And maybe, I mean, we apologize to them when we do something incorrectly. Like if I raise my voice, hey, I'm sorry. I just been super crazy, stressed out. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled at you. And maybe it's just saying it louder. No,
You know what I think?
know.
You know what I think it is? I think maybe it's just going to take time. Because what I think that this is tied to is something that they've struggled with before too, is humility. When it comes to like, I'm already good at that. I'm already the best at this. Like that's also on a similar level of being able to apologize when you're not the best, when you're not doing the right thing, when, you know, whatever. Right. I think it's part of the whole humility thing. And I think that's something that kids have to learn. And maybe it comes from years of just over and over.
And it could also be a bit because they are embarrassed of their actions. Yesterday with Joey, it seemed it was that he felt bad. He felt shame. He was embarrassed.
He was embarrassed that about getting hit in the face, or about what he did.
All of it.
About the whole situation.
Just all of it. Yeah.
The whole situation.
I think that's what it was. He was a bit uncomfortable with what happened.
Yeah.
You know, I was listening to Brene Brown, and she talks about shame and how shame can, you know, just certain things. We can get into that a little maybe on the next podcast, because there's a lot that I want to talk to you about that. And just being able to be vulnerable and saying, hey, you know what? I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. I shouldn't have said those things. I didn't mean them. You're my best friend.
If you didn't mean them.
And then he should have pulled his hair and said, I'm sorry. Because that's what Evan said. Evan said that's not a sincere apology. Yeah. I don't know if you were there.
Yeah, I was there.
He said a sincere apology would be, it would come from you. And you would pull my hair and say, I'm sorry, Evan.
Because that's
how Joey,
like, both of them,
Joey.
Like they start not arguing, but as kids,
playing
like
around.
They play around. Actually, I have a story from them two messing around, pulling each other's hair. You guys check it out. I'll post it on there. But yeah, they slap each other around. They get to the point where one of them slapping the other. One reaches in, grabs a handful of hair. The other one grabs a handful of hair.
They're
just dragging each other to the ground, and they're screaming and laughing.
Yes.
And playing.
Yeah.
And they do this all the time. So that's why he was like, if he was to apologize like that, I know that's a real apology. That's how my friend would apologize.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, but it was a great learning lesson, I think, for the entire family.
Untangled.
Yes. What about it?
That's the book.
Yes.
For it's a book for preteens.
I would read it
pre-teenage girls
before your daughter becomes a teenager. But even if you have a teenager and you haven't read it, I would highly, highly suggest to get this book, because I'm telling you, everything they go over, you're going to go through with them if you are connected with your daughter, meaning you have those deep conversations, you have that relationship with her, and they talk about that too. Yeah. It is not healthy for you to be that cool mom. It is not healthy to have a friendship with your daughter. You are a mom first. And children appreciate and respect having a mom who has that authority.
Chill out, Mom. What the fuck?
Just saying.
Jesus Christ.
I'm sharing with you what I learned.
All right, people, take it. All right. No, you're right.
Listen to the book.
You're right. It's true.
You're lucky.
This is true.
I'm gonna kick
you know what?
With my
I think
heel.
Untangled and Raising Lions. Those are two of, must-read parenting books.
Yes.
Untangled, if you have girls, it's been an awesome book so far. I'm sure it's going to get better. And Raising Lions was an eye-opening book. That one was awesome by Joe Newman.
And even if you
and if
don't
you guys
have
would like
a
to pick up
teenager, but you are a grandparent of a teenager, you may want to read the book.
Go ahead and pick
it
up
at Amazon. No.
Go ahead. Pick it up. Where can they pick it up?
www.oppositesattractpod.com. You go to the help.
The support the show
tab
at the top.
One click, and it helps us to help you.
One click on what?
Support the show
on the Amazon link. If you purchase anything through Amazon, you want me to get? Oh, don't worry, buddy. I got it. If you purchase anything through Amazon and you click through that support the show tab, if you click on that link, you'll see our Amazon link. Click on that, And anything that you purchase helps us out. When you're on Amazon, if you search Opposites Attract Podcast, you'll find all of our merch, t-shirts, pop sockets, phone cases, all that. And you'll also see a link to Trust Inc. when you click on the support the show tab.
I got this.
What's that?
Trust Inc. We are a nationwide mobile notary and signing agency. So if you or someone you know are in the process of purchasing, selling, or refinancing, you can request Trust Inc. to be your signing agency. Nice.
You can go to Trust Inc. directly by going to trustinkusa.com. And so we're also affiliates with Libsyn, which is who hosts our podcast. And if you guys have a hobby or something that you'd like to talk about, you've thought about starting a podcast, you can use promo code OAP for you'll get whatever month you sign up in for free, and you'll get the next month for free. And what Libsyn does is they distribute your podcast to Amazon Music, to Spotify, iTunes, all the big places where you can download and listen to podcasts. They distribute it to there. And they have great analytics. You can listen to all your stuff. And we're also affiliates with Pinwheel. And yes. Pinwheel is?
It is a cell phone for children.
You struggling over here? What the hell is going on?
I don't do all the commercials, man. That's what you're for. But the reason why we decided, because those of you that you've been listening to us for quite some time, we were so against getting our daughter or even our son a cell phone.
I know how to get you into these ads. Babe, all you need to do is talk from the heart.
Yes.
Talk from the heart.
And that's what I'm doing. Yes. So
tell us about Pinwheel.
We decided that we were going to look into a device that will secure what our daughter listens to, what she watches, who she speaks to, who she sends text messages through. And before any of this can happen, we, the parents, must accept who she will be chatting with, who she'll be texting, and who she would be and what social media she will be.
We're going to get fucking kicked off of Pinwheel. If you guys would Pinwheel really is the best kids phone out there.
Yes.
And when you get a Pinwheel phone, the kids are not going to have access to all the social media, to all the apps that suck all their attention.
Yes.
That keep them addicted to the phone. What Pinwheel does is it only... they select all the apps. They go through them and they make sure that the only apps that the kids can get on these phones are apps that are going to be useful, that are going to be helpful, that are going to be tools for the kids that they can use throughout the day.
Yes,
and it's something that they can grow with. They can you can get them a phone when they're little, and they have apps that are age appropriate all the way up till teenagers.
Yes.
So if you guys would like 10% off of a Pinwheel phone, you guys can use promo code OAP10, all in caps, OAPTEN, on pinwheel.com to get 10% off.
Good job. You do so amazing.
Thanks, babe.
At those ads. You are hired for life.
So another thing that happened last night was after all the commotion and, Joey getting hit in the face with the pizza and then Audrey cracking me in the jaw and the kids not apologizing and all that stuff. And the kids told us a little bit of a story about their friendship because they had just went through a little bit of an issue. But it was an issue, but I mean, since I was there and you were there, we kind of helped them through it.
Yes.
But they kind of told us about a situation that happened. And I don't know if
Evan.
I don't know if they had slept over here or if it was over at his house.
It was at Evan's house.
And they told us that I guess Evan had got a bloody nose.
Yes. He has problems, he says. I always get bloody noses.
Yeah. And then Joey said that, or I don't know if
Evan was a bit nervous because it was a lot of blood, I guess.
It was a lot of blood.
And Joey, Joey goes through the same issue.
Yeah, he's gotten bloody noses a lot.
We have showed Joey some things that he can do to kind of help the situation. So Joey's an expert. So when they were having that situation, Joey was next to him and said, "Don't worry, buddy. I'll take care of you."
Yeah. And
it helped Evan feel less scared.
Yeah, it helped him feel. He said that he hung out with him all night and he was checking on him to make sure that he was good. He said that he was so sweaty because he was. Did you hear him when he said that? He was checking on him. Yeah, because he was also scared for his friend, I think, too. Yeah,
but he didn't share his fear. He just said, "It's okay, buddy. Like, I got you. You know, I'll take care of you.
And then because they are the way they are, Evan's talking about how Joey grabbed a bunch of tissue and rolled it up, and he's like, and he started jamming it in my nose and all this. But it's so cute, man, seeing them talk about each other.
And this is what I this is what I shared with you. I've never experienced such a relationship. Like, they're very intimate. Evan is very intimate and open with his feelings, right? Like, he speaks his truth. For being so young, this little boy speaks his truth. And it doesn't matter how embarrassing it is. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, he is going to speak his truth. I'll give you another example. Audrey, it was probably almost at the beginning maybe of their relationship, maybe.
Okay.
Evan and Joey's relationship. Yeah. And Audrey used to hang out with Evan as well. And so here we are having dinner, and we have Evan over, and Audrey, they're talking and chit-chatting, and all of a sudden we hear Evan tell Audrey, I think you like me.
Yep.
And Audrey's like, huh?
She's like,
right?
I don't like
She's
you.
like, what? I don't like you. And then he's like, then why do you always act weird around me?
She had no clue
like,
what to say.
Straight out. And Evan's a little older or a little younger than Audrey. But Audrey did have a crush on somebody else at that time. But he's a smart kid, and he voiced what he was feeling. And Miguel and I were sitting right there. Like, what kid would have the balls and be that courageous just to say, hey,
right to her face,
right in front of the parents?
Yep.
You know,
that was funny.
But that's what I love about him. Like, you're going to get exactly what you're going to get. There's no questioning who he is, where his thoughts are, what he's thinking, because all you have to do is ask him, and he will straight out tell you what's up.
Yep.
And I think that that's going to help their relationship in the long run. Because if they do have a disagreement, or if they hurt each other's feelings, and Joey may not be as open with his emotions, that's something that we need to work on with him.
Yeah.
But Evan is going to help him. And I think you had mentioned that last night. Like, he is going to help Joey in those types of situations.
Yeah, because he is more open, like you said. Like, he'll be goofy, and he'll dance around like if nobody's there. Like, if it's just,
even
I'm saying he does it like nobody's around. He doesn't care. And that's cool.
Yes.
Like, and Joey, he doesn't want to.
No, he's embarrassed.
You know what's
he cares what other people think about him.
I used to be like that. And you know what's a good, something that can make it clear?
What?
At least for Latin families or Hispanic families, we dance at our parties.
Yes.
Right? Even when you're young.
Yes.
When you're young, you dance at the parties.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see who's shy and who isn't.
That's true.
You know? And when I was a kid, I didn't want to dance at the party. And neither does Joey.
Right.
And then little by little, as you get older, I'm like, shit, all the girls are dancing. I need to fucking learn how to dance. You know?
Yes. But just, it was so cool. So Miguel and I are downstairs. We had the boys go up and take a shower. So Joey's showering in our bathroom. Evan's showering in the guest bathroom. And he comes down wearing Joey's freaking shark robe.
Shark robe.
And what is he singing, pants? Baby? What's
baby
he
shark?
singing?
It was a baby shark.
Yes. It was so cute.
Funny.
And it was funny as shit for him just to come out. And Joey's not with us.
No.
You know, and
he's free.
Like,
he's free.
He is. And I love that.
Yeah. No,
I love that.
And it's cool having him over.
Yes.
It's funny. What did he say? Something about Joey said something about your stepson or your son?
Oh, yeah.
Your other son?
Yeah. I was like, hey, I'm like, what were you today? He's like, I was with your other son. That's what he said. Or I was with your other son. I'm like, oh, you're with Evan? He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just great. I mean, we know his family, and their family is, you know, it's just a great thing. Yeah. I love seeing that they have those types of friendships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, well, you know what? I had a since we've been talking about the kids the whole time, I had a conversation with Joey. And I didn't really talk to you too much about it, but we got into some pretty good depth about dealing with certain people or dealing with police specifically. I don't know how we got into it.
That's what I was just going to ask.
I don't remember exactly how we got into it. If we saw a police officer or something happened, we were talking about something, or I don't know. I don't remember. Okay. Maybe it was that video of the fentanyl, the drugs or something, but we were talking about a cop. And it's weird, but I guess you have to. You just in case, you got to have a conversation with kids. And I think especially boys. Right? And I've told you that when it comes to boys, there's like it's just part of being a male human, that there are certain years that are fucking dangerous, And I was telling you, like, from 15, 16 to, like, I don't know, 25. It could be a fucking disaster. Like, you could make one wrong decision and your life is just completely different from that point forward, And sometimes, like, the testosterone, the attitude, and when you deal with police, like, I've seen a lot of different places online and where people get a certain attitude, and especially today. And you know what? A lot of times I get it and I understand 100%, because the way I feel about people that are in that position is that they are public servants. Not to say that they should be kissing our feet and we should treat them like shit because they are our servants, but they are to serve the people. They're here to make society's life better, to protect and serve. Like, that is what it's about. But like I've talked about before, sometimes when you give people power, it immediately goes to their head and they feel like, well, I'm the one that makes the fucking rules around here. You know what I mean? Right. And I was kind of just explaining to Joey, like, don't ever forget that at the end of the day, when you're talking to police, you're talking to a person with a gun.
I think he's going to be okay, though. You know why?
I understand.
I mean, because he looks white. No, I'm kidding.
He's gonna fucking Jose Ramirez is gonna enjoy that white privilege. Holy shit! They're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Excuse me, sir." And then when they fucking come back with his license, he's gonna get the shit beat out of him because it says fucking Jose Ramirez.
Up. We're kidding, by the way. We're just joking, okay? We're joking. Don't take any. But you mainly hear minorities speaking to their children about police officers.
I don't think so. I think
a lot of black families, a lot of Mexican.
Hispanics, yes, maybe. But I don't think it's just that. I think because if you get stopped and somebody's treating you, we had this happen. I explained this to Joey when I was talking to him. And I told him, I was like, look, just to be real, the majority of the time when something goes down, cops are not there. They're not. They get called and they show up after the fact. So throughout the regular day in society, I mean, a lot of cops or whatever's happening is like, I don't know if they're out sitting somewhere trying to catch somebody to write a ticket or whatever, but when something's happening, they get called over. It's not like they're there stopping it before it happens.
Right.
Maybe detectives and, people that are the drug task force and the gang task force and that kind of thing, they're doing something proactive, but when you get that power and you run into somebody, it's like, well, shut up. And like, if you even come off, even just asking questions sometimes, it's like they take it as like, who are you to ask me? I've had some awesome interactions with cops, and then I've had some that were not so great. But what I told Joey is, no matter what, always think about it as a person with a gun. And you always want to be the one to de-escalate. I was like, if you ever hear me get pulled over, and he brought up an example. There was one time that we were somewhere and Audrey was at a friend's birthday at a bowling alley arcade kind of thing. And I needed to go pick her up and something happened. I don't know what was going on, but I was running late. And you know me, especially with Audrey being at the bowling alley, I don't want people waiting on me to pick up my daughter from your birthday party. It fucking looks bad as a parent. You know what I mean? So I'm fucking hauling ass. And all of a sudden I get pulled over. And Joey was in the back seat. And when I got pulled over, the cop asked me, like, what's going on? I was like, sometimes cops are jerks. And sometimes cops are good. I was like, look, if I'm speeding or something like this happens and he gives me a ticket, I can't be mad at that.
Right.
I was the one doing wrong. I was like, sometimes they let you go. And I was like, you know what? And if you're a good like if you're just cool with them and just don't be a jerk, be super respectful and things will work out fine most of the time. You know, and he was like, and he brought it up. I forgot about that situation. He was like, yeah, the cop stopped us. And I told him, he said, you told him that we were going to be late to pick up Audrey from the party. And he said, and I told him, I was like, yeah, the cop told me. He's like, I know how you feel. He's like, I hate being late to pick up my kids. He's like, just slow down a little bit. And I was like, I don't know if you remember. I was like, thank you. I was like, I really appreciate it. Thank you for everything you do and, you know, whatever. But I told him, I was like, if you run into a good cop, somebody that's nice to you or whatever, make sure you tell them because they don't hear it. Make sure that you tell them that you appreciate what they're doing because they, you know, when something does happen and you do need them, you do want them to be there.
Right.
You know? But there was also that situation that we ran into in Florida where we're driving and a cop pulls me over and just starts being a straight up asshole for no reason.
Right.
And I told Joey, I'm like, there's no reason for him to treat me. Actually, he's the one that said it. So the situation, what happened was the law had just passed where when you have an emergency vehicle, you have to move over a lane, right? You have to leave the lane next to them open. That law had just passed and I had no clue. So there was a cop pulled over on the side of the road and I drove right by him. So he stopped what he was doing with whoever he was with and chased us down and pulled us over. And he's like, what are you doing? You remember we were on our way to go see my brother. And he's like, what are you doing? Didn't you see me over there? And I was like, yeah, like, I'm sorry, sir. I saw you over there, but I don't know what's going on. He's like, when you see an emergency vehicle, you need to leave a lane open and this and that. And he started yelling at me and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know that. And I'm telling you, like, I'm sorry, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. Here's my license and registration. Like, I'm going back to fucking military days because at the end of the day, it's a person with a gun and there's nobody else out there on the side of the road with you. And guess what? And this is, like we've mentioned before, this is a game. And this is what I explained to Joey. When you go to court, whether you're right or wrong, the court will most likely side with the cop. So what you need to do is de-escalate the situation every single time. Treat it as a person with a gun and you're not going to get away with anything. As a matter of fact, you might get screwed. So de-escalate and try to get out of it.
That's so sad that you have to have that type of conversation, but it's real. That's reality.
So when we got pulled over and he starts yelling at me, I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know about the law. And he starts saying, it's because of people like you that slam into emergency vehicles and kill us or kill people. And right when I said that to Joey, Joey's like, you've never hit anybody. And I was like, I know. I was like, that's why it was wrong for him to treat me that way.
Right.
I was like, and for one, they have the power. You've been given authority by the people. There's a certain amount of responsibility that you have not to abuse that power.
Right.
But because of the society that we live in, that doesn't always happen. So it's on us. And, you know, I think it's sad, but we have to have these conversations.
It's true. And you don't even think about that. You don't even think about these are certain conversations that we have to have. You know what I'm saying? And I wonder, I mean, it's great that you did that, but I would have never thought to have that conversation with them because it's not a situation that I've ever been in or have ever felt disrespected, I guess. And it could be because I'm a woman. I don't know.
Well, you were there for that one.
Right.
What were you thinking when that happened? Do you remember that? That was years ago.
Yeah. I was just, I mean, you voiced enough. I didn't have to say anything, but I've never been in that situation. So it was a bit uncomfortable.
And this is something that I want to mention too, because I think there's a lot of times that people feel like there's a certain degree of racism or whatever. Mm-hmm. But if you look on YouTube and you look anywhere, there's instances of black cops being assholes. There's instances of Hispanic cops being assholes. There's instances of Asian cops being assholes. There was one I saw, I think it was an Asian cop that was in San Diego just fucking ready to fuck people up. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this dude? You know, like, you should not be a cop if that's your attitude. Like, fucking let's go at people. I'm like, dude, what is your fucking deal?
Yeah.
You know, so it's not just one person. But the thing is, when we got pulled over in that instance, for him to treat me the way he did, and me not do anything really wrong, what would my only, like, I mean, for me personally, what I was thinking is this cop's an asshole. Because I've also been in different situations. Like I was in the military where, you know, we get different positions. You get put in a position where you get a sliver of power, and it's crazy. It's crazy when you see there's these certain people that you give them a sliver, the fucking tiniest bit of power, and these motherfuckers will try to make people's life hell.
Yes.
And I want to fucking destroy those people.
So
that's why I wanted to move up. You know what I mean? But those are they're cops now. Like, just like I talk about in everything. There's good people that do shit, and there's fucking people that suck at their jobs.
Yes. And the last podcast we talked about money. And I said it's the issue of the heart. It's the issue of it's the individual. It's not
it's
the color.
Money.
It's not the race. It's not. It's you give someone power,
and you're gonna see who they are.
Shouldn't have power, and you're gonna see who they are. You give someone money.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
You will see who they are. Very similar. Very similar. And it's the issue of the heart. Who are you really?
And who could become a tyrant? Anybody. That's what they remember, that How to Become a Tyrant on Netflix. And who can become a tyrant? Because at the end of it, they make it seem like, hey, man, you may think you're not like these guys, but who can become a tyrant?
Right.
Anybody.
See, and the thing of it, and this is a different podcast, is that things have happened.
Things have happened.
To these individuals.
Yeah.
That made them this way. And in order for them to make things right, they have to be brave enough and courageous enough to face those hard truths, to face those traumas that have created them to be the people that they are today.
Do you know what it has to do with? It has to do with what we talked about earlier in the podcast, with humility. It has to do with humility. It has to do with understanding what you're really there to do. You know, like what we're here to do is to help people, to serve people. It's not, you're given this power to do good things with it, not to have a power trip.
Yes. But when there's unresolved issues of the heart, that's when it gets out of control.
Yeah.
So maybe what they should do when it comes to police officers or anyone that's in power,
put them in
any
therapy
kind of
or some shit.
Yes.
They should have unlimited therapy.
Yes. Like, where did you grow up? Your parents, like, really dig into it.
We got a few of us starting therapy in this house.
You know?
And you know what? In this house,
therapy
it is not
a bad thing.
And in this house, it's not stigmatized.
What's so important, I mean, when you think about it, every muscle, people that go to the gym, they go to what? To get healthy.
To work out.
To build mass, right? And it's important what you feed yourself as well, right? Yeah. What do you put in your body? And the brain is also a very important muscle. Your mentality is also what makes you. And a lot of times our mental health is not where it needs to be. In order to get everything aligned, your mental health has to be on point. And a lot of us are unbalanced. A lot of us are unhealthy.
Yeah. Because
of things that we've been through. And we think that if we don't go back and reveal or unreveal things that have happened to us, if we don't talk about it, it's going to dissipate. It's going to disappear. I'm not going to remember. I'm going to forget. But then you start acting out and making decisions that are not good for you, that are not healthy. And it all stems from whatever trauma that occurred.
Yep. It's true.
And you got to break free. And the only way to break free is to face,
you know, earlier
hard truths.
Earlier in the week, we were talking about something, and I don't think we'll probably get into it a little bit here, but we might have to save it for next week. But we were kind of talking about how there's certain people sometimes that it seems like they want to keep their mind busy.
Yes. Oh, we all do it.
Yeah. No. I think
all
everybody,
do it.
maybe it's like something that everybody does at a certain
Yes.
point, but maybe it's just that some more than others.
Some are not aware.
They don't
Some are not
realize
aware.
they're doing it.
I didn't realize when I was hurting or going through something, I would turn to TV. I didn't until somebody had mentioned it. And then I started to self-reflect and be like, because I noticed that sometimes when I would get into a state of depression, you didn't know. Because you would see me working all the time. You would see me go, 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 go. And then when something would happen, I would be, you're at work. I work for myself. I can make my own schedule, right? Yeah. So there's times too, though, when you would come home and I'm in my onesie doing what? Watching TV. Right?
Watching Downton Abbey or whatever.
No,
that was
now
recently. You've been watching
now
it. Yeah.
I enjoy. Now I've learned how I numb myself when I'm not wanting to face some hard truths or why am I feeling this? I had to go back and work on me and give me some quiet time in order to peel back the layers to figure out why am I feeling this way? Why am I in this state of mind? And why am I turning to TV? Why am I not wanting to face this?
Yeah.
But it took me listening. It was probably Oprah. Someone went on there and mentioned something. And then I was like, oh, I don't use gambling. I don't use drugs. I don't use alcohol. I don't use food. I use TV. And when I recognized that, I started working on that. I started giving myself time. I had to journal. I had to take myself through some things. I had to face some hard truths. And when I learned what those hard truths were, I didn't keep it to myself. I talked to you about it. I let you know that if you see me on the sofa, you hear, hey, you know, I decided not to work today. I'm doing this, like to check in and be like, hey, how are you? And for me not to be that, oh, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm okay. Because that's not what's going to help me to break free. It's speaking my truth to the people that I trust, which is you. Yeah. And, you know, a couple others out there. Matter of fact, I think I started doing some Facebook Lives about it. I remember, you know, crying and because I found out that the more I speak about it, others will start to reveal their truths. And you know how I love to help people. And it's like, how do I help others break free from what I just learned about me?
What made you recognize in the moment, like, I've been sitting here for too long, or this might be an issue, or like, how can somebody, like a sign that you're using this as a crutch?
Right. Like I was sad. I knew I was sad. I didn't want to think. I didn't want to do. I wanted to check out.
You know what? I think there, like you said, there's TV, there's food, there's drugs, there's alcohol, there's all kinds of stuff. There's sex,
a lot.
There's
porn.
Sex too. Yeah.
There's porn.
There's also, but you know who? There's gambling. There's, I think, who was it that we had on? It was something with Isaiah. With Isaiah.
Oh, McPeak. Social media is another.
Yeah.
Where people go on and they spend hours. And then once they are done, they feel sick to their stomachs because they're like, why me? Why are they having all the fun? Why are they going on vacation? Why are they in a great relationship? Why do they have this and why don't I? And why don't my kids love me the way their kids love me?
Yeah.
Right? And you get into this very negative state of mind.
Yeah. Yeah, Isaiah was talking about. He was talking about that, like that feeling that you get, and when you've been sitting there doing these things, like it might feel. I don't know if it feels good in the moment
to zone out.
I don't
it
think
does.
I don't
in the moment.
No, I don't think it feels good. It feels okay.
Right.
It's like
because you're zoning out.
It's like I'm kind of enjoying this, but there is a subconscious underlining thought or feeling that you have that you know that something's not right and that this isn't right.
Right. Yes.
And when you're done, you don't have a good feeling. That feeling goes from that I guess this is okay, or maybe I shouldn't be, or whatever, to disappointment.
Yes.
And I shouldn't have.
Yes.
You know, like he was saying that about like the cell phone, the games, when you're trying to play the games on the phone and get the next level, and you've been on there, and before you know it, it's been 4 hours, and you're like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of when you are overindulging in food.
Anything. In
food,
anything.
Right? Like when you're taking that bite of that juicy Whopper.
Oh, yeah, when you're done and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Like I should have fucking stopped.
Feel horrible the next morning you're feeling it. Yeah. You know, and you beat yourself up. Instead, it's like, I fucked up. I made a mistake. And this is what Brene Brown talks about. It's like, accept responsibility, right? Like, man, I made a mistake. Oh, you know, it's like not owning. It's this, okay? It's, man, I made a mistake. I ate that hamburger.
Yeah.
It's okay, right? Like it's forgiving yourself, not beating yourself up for doing it, but picking up from where you left off and say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do better.
Yeah.
I'm going to do better. Why? Because I love myself.
Yeah.
You know, it's I watch TV all day. I'm not lazy. I'm not a lazy person. I'm acting this way, but that's not who I am.
Yeah.
It's not taking ownership of the behavior. It's like, this is what I did.
Yeah.
I forgive myself. I love myself. I know what I need to do in order to make this better.
And you can reset.
And I'm doing it. And I'm going to do it.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Accept your imperfections. Love you. Love your imperfections. But know that this, if you continue to go this route, you're going to get into that dark place again.
Yeah.
And being able to recognize the emotions and the actions that you're taking and what you're telling yourself when you start to get into this dark path. And once you start to recognize your actions, your decisions, your self-talk, you can stop it in its tracks once you're aware
once you've done it
of
enough
your
times.
Thoughts and your actions and your decisions.
But you have to be aware to do that. So
Yes.
something that I want to look up for the next podcast, now that we're getting here to the end, is those people that we know and why there's such trouble, because we talk about like a lot of the things that the realizations that we've had,
Yes.
the things that we think about, the parenting stuff, the business stuff. Like, yeah, we get a lot of it from books and talking to people that we know, people with experience. We get it from talking to each other.
From our own mistakes.
But it also comes from quieting your mind and
Yes.
just thinking and listening to yourself. And not just business, not just parenting, but
No,
thinking about
all
your
of it.
childhood, thinking about all this stuff. And it seems like there's so many people that just numb themselves with all
Yes.
these different things, and their brains or their minds. It's like go to work, come home, TV's on, CNN, news, Fox News, like whatever. And it's just
Constant
it's
noise.
just blah, 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 until you fall asleep. And then the next day you go back to work, same shit over and over. And your brain never, like you never actually think about the shit that's out there. You know what I mean?
Or why
and the world that's around you.
Yes. Yes.
So maybe we
Yes.
can learn a little bit about that. And
There's a whole lot.
talk to you guys a
to
little bit
learn
more about
that.
it next week.
Yes. Well, we thank you guys. We love you guys.
Make sure you guys go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. Share with the people that you know. We are super excited because we're doing some, if you guys listen to the last podcast, regardless of what happens in this world in the future, you guys know we are committed to living the best life that we can possibly, right?
Yes.
And we're going to grow our businesses. We're going to grow our assets. We're doing it in different ways. And it's an exciting time.
Right.
And you guys will,
But
what's
this
up?
podcast isn't about us. It's not about us growing. It's not about, it is, but it isn't. What this podcast is about is teaching others through our mistakes, through our vulnerability, through our truth, so that with giving examples at how we've been able to overcome these challenges will hopefully help you and prevent you from doing the same mistakes.
Yeah.
That,
learning from our previous mistakes,
Yes.
things that we've learned. learning from the mistakes that we're going to make in the future.
Yes. And from experts that we have on.
And learning from things that we try out and we have some success with.
Yes.
You know, so you guys will be along for the ride. And we're happy to have you guys with us.
Yes. Because the whole purpose of this podcast is for us to all grow together.
That's right.
Right?
Thank you for listening to Opposites Attract podcast,
where we get better
together.
Bye.
Bye.